Oh boy, back to work tonight. That weekend just flew right by. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend, but it's about that time of day again. Time to get back to work. Tuesday is right around the corner. It's September the 13th, after all, 2021. My name is Joseph, and as always, welcome back to your nightly newsletter. Now, if you're watching for the first time tonight, it's great to have you with me. My job tonight is to help us find the best trades, setting up for Tuesday's trading session. I got a great video in store for you guys tonight. Charts are all ready in the background, as you can see. S&P's ready, Nasdaq's ready, gold is ready. Glad to see you are ready right along with us. Got a lot of trades setting up for tomorrow. We got some ranges on the radar here. Got some gold ranges, Nasdaq ranges, S&P ranges. Ranges tell us we're trading failures, we're trading breakouts, we're trading reversals, right? So there is no shortage of great price action setups on my radar for tomorrow. By the end of this video tonight, you'll know my favorite trades setting up for Tuesday. You'll also know the stuff to stay away from so you can stay out of trouble and keep yourself in the green tomorrow, whether you're trading with us in the trade room or you're trading on your own out there on Tuesday's trading session. Before we jump into the meat and potatoes tonight, before we get into the good stuff in this video, as always, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. I publish this video every evening with my best trade ideas. I don't want you to miss tomorrow night's video, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that little bell icon so you get notified when I publish tomorrow night's video. If you have any questions for me, drop those questions for me in the comment section. Always appreciate the comments. Would love to answer any questions that you might have. And if you guys enjoyed this video, if you carve out some time every evening for this video, hit that like button. Always appreciate you guys carving some time out, spend some time with me here every evening on this video. But make sure you subscribe. Enough of the intro though. Time is ticking. Tuesday is right around the corner. Got a lot of great trades in the trade room today, and we are setting up for what hopefully will be another good day tomorrow on a Tuesday's trading session. As I mentioned in the intro, we've got some ranges here right now. Lots of ranges on the chart right now. Range on the Emini S&P, range on the Nasdaq, and of course range on the gold. Boy, I mean, there are so many options right now, both long and short. Got a lot of big, strong blasts higher, right? Strong moves higher here. So there will definitely be chances to be a buyer as we try to finish off some moves going higher. I got some pullback setups, some breakout setups I'm watching as we go higher. You know, we're also here at the top of the range too. You know, top of the range, top of the range, top of the range. So there definitely are going to be some shorts. We'll wait and see if we get those triggers, right? But I've definitely got some failures and some shorts on my radar here, right? So this again, there's the long side, this the short side. Again, we're gonna cover all these specific setups in tonight's video. Before we jump into the actual trades we're tracking for tomorrow, though, let's just make sure we're all on the same page here for us, because of course there is some big news tomorrow, and this is not your average week. This is what's known as quadruple witching, the third week of the month of September. So first things first, got some big news tomorrow. The CPI report is definitely no small news event. That consumer price index, you know, everyone's been talking about inflation, and of course that is an inflation number. That is one of the biggest inflation numbers that we get each month, the CPI report, and of course the PPI report we'll hear next week. The CPI tomorrow morning at 8:30 Eastern time. Hopefully that will give us a nice shot in the arm tomorrow morning, get us some nice personality, you know, as we go into the U.S. session tomorrow. Our trade room opens up at 8 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, where you'll trade this stuff together. So we'll have a front row seat for that CPI report tomorrow. So definitely be aware of that. That's what the big news is tomorrow. As we go later on in the week, again, we got quadruple witching on Friday. I do want to give you guys a heads up. I will not be here on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It is about that time of the year to take the quadruple witching little break from the markets. I do take this time off, these last 3 days of quadruple witching. Quad witching is, third week of every 3 months. We expect it to be a lot of jumpy price action as we go into the end of this week. It is definitely tradable, and I will certainly be there tomorrow, of course, the guys in the trade room. But as I told you guys this morning, the trade room this morning. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the volatility kicks up. The volume usually stays pretty high, but you remember, there's all 4 asset classes expire at the end of the day on Friday. And what happens is Wednesday and Thursday, all the big market makers, all the big whales out there, the institutions, whatever you want to call them, they start manipulating or managing their positions. We trade futures in our trade room, right? But the futures markets are used as hedging tools for options positions, equity positions, cash positions. So the futures markets will begin to see that kind of not so much choppiness, but big unexpected moves. It can be a difficult kind of end of the week as we go into it. I look at this as a chance to rest up, refocus. I got some new stuff I'm working on for you guys next week on the YouTube channel because we go into the end of the month of September, and it's on until the quad witching in December. The next few months are the best time to be a trader. So I kind of use this as a strategic time. Take a break, got to regroup, come back next week, and really kick some butt with you guys going into that end of the month, October, November, December, really all the way through third week of March is the best time to be a trader. So this is the time to be with us in our trade room, learning this strategy, right, and making some money as you go into the end of the year. I am working on some new format stuff next week on this YouTube channel. I'm tossing around some ideas. I know you guys love those psychology videos. So I'm thinking about doing Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday newsletter, and then Wednesday and Friday psychology and trading tactics. What do you think about that? So there'll be no newsletter on Wednesdays, and of course, there's never a newsletter on Fridays. What I would do is I would do the newsletter on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Unfortunately, no newsletter on Wednesdays, but I would do a psychology lesson and trading tactics, right? Trading strategies, maybe some trade reviews from our trade room, things like that. I'm trying to, my job in this YouTube channel is to help you guys succeed. I know you guys love to learn more about specific strategies. I know you love all the psychology videos that I put out in the past. What do you think? I would love to hear your feedback. Drop me a comment in the comment section. Don't just hit the like button or the thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up button. Let me know what you like in the comment section. What do you think, though, for going next week, right? Monday, Tuesday, Thursday newsletter, which I love, but I know you guys love these psychology videos. And, of course, Wednesday and Friday, I'll release the psychology lessons. That way it's a little mix of everything. I want to hear what you guys think about that, and I'll make a decision on this later on this week. So be aware of that. There'll be no newsletter Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. We, of course, will continue our normal schedule in our trade room. But again, right, be prepared for some small changes next week on the newsletter. Drop me some comments, some feedback in the comments section below. All right, CPI report tomorrow, don't forget, is the big news, right, tomorrow morning. We'll be in our trade room tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Eastern time. A front row seat for you guys with that tomorrow morning for that CPI report. Let's get back to our charts here. Sorry to keep you waiting there so long. I'm pretty excited about some new stuff here coming on our YouTube channel. There's only 24 hours a day, right? I'm going to tend to make the most of it for you guys and try to help you guys take advantage of whatever we publish here on this channel. S&P, Nasdaq, and gold are all ready. Like I said, a lot of great trades on my radar. You could really choose any three of these markets. Let's grab the S&P here first. Let's talk about the basics, what's going on right now, and then we'll talk about kind of my game plan and hopefully your game plan tomorrow to trade it. We basically, in a nutshell, we had there was a very strong pop higher. We found some longs going up early part of the morning, but the reversal, right, that 1, 2, 3 move down. The bears pretty much took it lower into a trading range. The market kind of grinds around inside that range. Ranges, of course, act like magnets. And ranges will like to rotate. So you'll notice I've marked up the amount we went underneath it. We go back, right back above. This will create levels of resistance up above that trading range. So basically that range acts like a magnet, and sellers in a bear market into a trading range will be looking to sell at resistance areas above the range, trying to go back down, right, into that range magnet. Simple as that. That is kind of the in a nutshell what's going on right now, right? They're rotating off of that low, back higher. And the bears, because you can see, of course, up around major resistance, trendline resistance, pendulum resistance. It's a great plot. It's a great spot to get short, right? It is. But let's face it. Look at the strength of that move. That is kind of the second component that we have here on this market for tomorrow, and it's very similar on the gold and the Nasdaq as well. You can see a very strong pop higher. Normally, whenever we see a big, strong move like this, usually you're going to see another leg in the same direction, right? Anytime we see a real strong move in one direction, we usually see a follow-up leg. So we see a very strong move higher, and, I get it. We're at level of resistance here, but still, we've got a lot of strength here. And so the odds are pretty good that we get back to retest that high, and then from there, maybe we do end up back down into that trading range, or maybe we keep going and we end up taking out those big highs, right? Kind of those pre-market, or they would basically right at 930 at those highs up there. So definitely have that piece of this puzzle going as well. So those are the two components, right? The sellers would love to sell back down again, but man, oh man, do they have a lot of momentum to deal with right now from these buyers. So how do we buy it? How do we sell it? Let's kind of talk this thing through, because we're traders, right? So we want to be ready for whatever the market gives us. I could make predictions of what I think is going to happen, but in all reality, when this opening bell rings in Asia and we start getting this stuff moving, you got to trade whatever the market gives you, right? So let's say what happens. Let's say we go higher here. If we go higher here, there's really a couple setups that I'm looking for. As we go higher, probably the one I would like the most would be a trap. So if we do keep going higher, let's say the market kind of keeps on, short squeezing and grinds going higher here. If we do go higher, probably the favorite entry of mine would be a trap. Keep it going higher, shallow pullback, higher high in price, little trap low. Love traps. I call these 2-try traps in my trade room. One of my favorite types of trades whenever we have, for example, strong move, shallow pullback, lower low, trap. Those traps are really, really effective in both directions, right? So that would be one way I would buy this going higher. Now, sometimes we don't get that trap. Sometimes what happens is, if I kind of zoom this out a little bit, right? Again, let's say the market goes higher here. Let's say we go higher here now. Moving average comes over, and now let's say we get a deep pullback. Right? No trap on this one. Now it's a deep pullback. Again, we have all of that strength going higher. What I'd like to do is try to, not with the trap entry, but try to trap in these bears, get the bears to come in and try to sell off the moving average. Right? So once those bears, once they try to get short, because again, there's a range down there and they're going to want to sell it. Hopefully they do, because if they can get that short, right? If they can commit to the short, then all their stops are sitting right above that high, right? All of that strength. This is a great opportunity now for what I call a failure. And these don't usually just trigger failures. They usually go failure into pullback, into strength, into traps. I mean, these usually are the first of many. So failure, pullback, strength move, right? Trap setup. I mean, again, these usually trigger a lot of great entries as we go higher. Now, speaking of entries and speaking of triggers, I'm kind of marking up the chart here right now. I have lots of examples of these failure, pullback, trap kind of combinations. I cover all the entry triggers and a whole lot more in our quick start class here at School of Trade. If you haven't taken it yet, you definitely should. It'll teach you how to find support and resistance levels that you can actually trust to trade off of. It shows you how to use price action entries like failures and traps and pullbacks and strength moves. It also shows you some simple rules to follow to kind of keep you out of trouble, and that's why I recommend that quick start class. It's free. I always get such great feedback for it. So grab that little link up there. I'll put a link up there for for you in the upper right-hand corner, right, as we go higher. So definitely looking for those couple setups here, right, as we go higher here. What if we go lower? What if we go lower? Honestly, if we go lower, not a lot of this changes. If we go lower, there's no traps down here. You can see there's no traps right now. So if we do go lower, I would love to again, kind of trap in those bears below the moving average, get them to commit, and then again, failure, pullback, right, strength, and then trap combination. So kind of similar there. Again, I realize we're at the top of that range right now, but you've got all of this strength right now. It's very likely, at the very least, we at least retest that high. And again, I'll show you guys more examples of these price action setups in the video course that I mentioned earlier. How do we sell this thing as it goes lower? Could I sell it as it pulls back? Absolutely you can, because again, after all, there's a range down there. What's my problem though? My problem is definitely momentum. So how do we sell it if we're so bullish? Well, you got to give the buyers a couple shots. What I was going to do is as they're pulling back here now, I basically count twice. So I wait for the buyers to try once, I wait for those buyers to try twice, and then once I have them trying twice, now I'm going to warn you, there's a lot of different variations of this setup. All the stops are sitting right below that low. So technically what you want to do is sort of short into those stops, but we oftentimes find channels, kind of these hidden channels. We oftentimes get traps above those highs. So there's a lot, as you can see, there's a lot of different variations of this. I'm going to go over more of those kind of variations in that free quick start class. But let's just say, for example, though, we get that failure again. Maybe it's off a hidden channel there, maybe there's a trap on that. That will be a great short off the high. And then one of my favorite trades is to mark up a new channel off of these lows and then find that high up here and then grab that short. Now keep in mind, I'm simplifying this quite a bit right now. A lot of times that short is going to be, maybe I'm running out of space here. A lot of times that short, if I can kind of fudge it up a little bit there. A lot of times that short will be a little trap, off that high, right? It'll be a little trap into failure, right? Again, you'll get more details on that in that quick start class. But that will be a short, right, coming off of that high. And then where do the bears want to go? Yeah, the bears want to go back down and take out those lows, right? So it kind of, again, rotate. Now, let's say, for example, we do get that 1, 2 over. We take out that low, right? We take out that low. Now, what do I do at that point? Well, it really all depends on how strong that move is. Is that move really strong? Is it strong enough for me to, again, find a new channel where I could trap in, again, those bulls and sell into those stop losses? The same technique I would use over here, right? Is it really strong? If that's the case, I'll do that. Now, obviously, we'll know more tomorrow in the trade room. And then at the same time, if we do end up back at those lows, and again, I'm simplifying this right now, but if we do end up back at those lows here, then at that point now, all of that momentum for the bears, how do we buy it off the low, right? How do we buy it the same way we sell it? Let the bears try once, let them try twice, right? And we can buy it going back up, buy into that failure, find that new channel, and trade the rotation. Okay, this is why we love ranges so much in our trade room. 2 try failure, right? Pullback combination. Again, we're buying low, selling high, buying low, selling high, right? Trading that rotation. Ranges are super easy once you learn how to trade them. I cover a good chunk of that free trading class, that quick start class is covering ranges, how we trade failures, how we trade breakouts. So they grab that on there. And obviously tomorrow morning, get a pretty good game plan here on the S&P. I'm sure there are a couple things I might have missed here, but I'll make sure we fill in the blanks tomorrow morning in our trade room. Next up here, over on the Nasdaq here. Now, Nasdaq, you'll notice, kind of similar, right, to the S&P 500. Got that strong run going lower. We're definitely inside, or I should say, bearish into that trading range, right? The one thing we really kind of don't have a lot of on this one is that blast. the S&P had that really strong blast. I would definitely say the Nasdaq is one of those markets that is probably not quite there. I mean, look at the Nasdaq. And then look at the S&P. Just a little difference, right? Just a little more bullish there on the S&P. So the S&P, I can confidently, not buy that first pullback, but look for an entry setup to buy that first pullback. And then the Nasdaq right now, we're not quite there. We're not quite there. I will say though, there's one very big clue. We talked about how ranges love to rotate. Well, here's a very good example on the NASDAQ. So we go into a range and, we're always trying to find levels of support underneath the range so we can buy going back into the range because, of course, ranges are magnets. And then we look for levels of resistance, right, to sell above and go back into the range because, again, ranges act like magnets. Well, what should happen is we should rotate. So if you look at this, you can see, I'm going to draw a little, what we call an expanding triangle, right? So they go down, they go up, they go down, they go up. Again, we call this range rotation. Rotation is one of the 4 pillars of price action trading. And of course, right, we go lower. Big problem there. We don't have rotation. That to me is a big clue. It really is. That to me tells me these buyers are probably a little bit stronger than they appear to be. They may be a bull in a bear clothing right now. You know what I mean? They might be masking their intentions here. But that failed rotation definitely tells me first of all, if the market starts to move like the S&P did, then let's do it, right? We know what's going on now. Second of all, if the market pulls back now on this, I've got to be careful, getting short on this. Again, I got to be careful because, again, that failed rotation. If you watch this video newsletter, you may also look at it and say, well, you know what? We saw the amount of the move going higher here, right? Think about the amount going higher wasn't anywhere even close to the amount going lower. So, whether you want to use the pendulum swing technique that I always talk about, or you want to use the triangle technique, right? It's kind of the same thing, right? It kind of confirms here that we have something's going on, right? Something doesn't quite add up here. So that is a very big part of this analysis. So again, sellers, the bears have a pretty easy job right now. The bears want to sell back down. Their challenge, of course, is they have to respect what might be a bit of a difficult thing to get short here right now. Again, and of course, the buyers have that failed rotation. They would love to get this thing pumping up, right? Go back up to retest some of these highs overhead. There's that big. I mean, this is a big bullseye right on that kind of pre-market, overnight high up there around 15,560. You'll notice I did mark up a channel off of those lows up around that high. So we're definitely in an area. There's, again, the range acts like a magnet. So we're trying to find levels of resistance, such as the top of a channel, expanding triangle, major swing. So I'll tell you, there's no reason we can't short this thing. We just have to wait for the right type of entry setup. All right, so how do we buy it? How do we sell it? Remember, we are traders, right? So we have to keep an open mind and think of and really take whatever the market gives us. Now, I mentioned the break going higher here. So if we do go higher, couple things you want to think about as we go higher here. I marked up this prior swing. Now, this will also apply to the S&P 500. I didn't mention it on the S&P just because I want to kind of keep this video moving for you guys. But this same technique I'm going to talk about right now can also apply over to the E-mini. In my trade room, we call these the range edges. All right, so if you're a client with me in the trade room, this range edge is going to be a big factor. A lot of times we can get a breakout pullback, right? A little breakout pullback there. So, and again, this can also be applied on the S&P 500. What you want to think about again is do we go higher? Do we keep on running higher here? Will we start to kind of stretch our legs on this? Shallow pullback, higher high, absolutely a trap will be my favorite entry there as we go back up to retest those highs here. Or do we keep running higher here now? And then do we slip under the moving average? Again, think about this area here, right? That area in there acting as a level of support. Do we slip, underneath that moving average? Can I get those bears roped in, right? And then use that failure into pullback combination. Again, I'm keeping it pretty simple here right now, just kind of drawing up on the chart here. You guys that have taken that free trading class, you guys know the rules to these. You know what they look like, right? So failures, pullback, traps as we go higher. Easy setups. Again, I give all the rules in that quick start class for this stuff. So that's an option as we keep on popping higher here. If we were to go lower, or let's say, for example, we really start to run. Remember, if it keeps, kind of really starts to run, starts to grind and really short squeeze going higher, keep looking for traps as you go. As we pull back and go lower, what do you think's the best way to sell this thing? It's very similar to the S&P. In fact, you could probably be a little more aggressive on this one than on the S&P. The S&P, as you recall, had that big blast. So on the S&P, we really got to wait for that 1, that 2, right, and get that move here. What you might, and again, this would also apply on the S&P. Obviously, yes, I can still use that same entry technique where, again, a lot of anticipated buyers here because of that failed rotation here. So do we pull back to the moving average here? You know what I mean? Do we get one try here for the bulls, get it lower, 2 tries here? Remember, all those stops now are sitting right below that low. And again, I talked about this one earlier, right? So you mark up that low, mark up that high, maybe get that trap. Again, there's a lot of variations of this. I'm not going to go over all the variations. We'd be here all evening. I will cover most of them, though, in that quick start class. And of course, that could be your 2-try failure going lower. And then remember, trade the rotation, right? Trade the rotation. So mark up now, mark up that new channel. And again, as I mentioned earlier, this is oftentimes my favorite way to trade these is a trap on the side, right? So kind of think about how that little trap high would be there, find that new channel, and again, I'm really kind of, simplifying it right now. Trap, failure, pullback, combination, right? So we'll look for those price action entries off of that high. And then where would the target be on that? The target, of course, will be a pendulum swing. We would measure the amount above, project that down below. I'm always a big believer in taking off some profit at that, whatever the next level of support is. But if you got an extra contract for a runner, that pendulum swing, because again, what do ranges do? Ranges rotate, right? So that's a really, what I think really a very good setup there as we go short. Now, kind of one variation of this, again, this same technique could apply on the S&P. It's very, very similar on the S&P. Let's say, for example, the market just simply tries once at this moving average, right? And then really takes off to the downside. This will be called the 1, 2, 3 reversal. If that's the case, now the gig is up. We know where they're hunting for. They want that retest of that low. So at that point now, just simply find that new channel. You're going to want to drill down to a faster time frame. This is a 4,000 tick chart. Drill down to a faster time frame and find, again, maybe it's a trap, maybe it's a buyer failure, right, into pullback combination, which I've talked about quite a bit already on this video. But that's, of course, right where that short would come off of that high. Another kind of variation of this, just so you know, would be sometimes the market will kind of slip and fall, like once like that. That is exactly where a trap can really come in handy. This happens quite a bit. You get like a V top off the top of that range. Even though we have some failed rotation here, who knows? We're going to Asia right now. Anything is possible as we go into the overnight session. Let's say, for example, we get a V top and the market just simply tanks, right? Just runs back in. Well, usually what will happen is it'll usually see that one and go back into the range, and that's when you go, okay, I don't want to trade here, but now, again, if it really kind of collapses and runs down, now mark up that new channel, right? Find that trap. The trap will be your best friend on that. If if the bottom kind of falls out of it, right? The trap will be your best friend as you go lower. So again, pretty simple going higher, right? Looking for traps, looking for pullbacks as we go higher here. The kind of the more complicated part, they will be selling off the high. Let's say we do end up all the way down at those lows, okay? Let's say we do end up all the way back down at those lows. We sell it on the way back down. Now we end up back at these lows. How do I buy it? What's a breakout look like? I buy it with that same, and the reason why you want to let them try twice, right? One try, two try. Again, anytime we see a real strong shot that goes with momentum, we got to wait for those once, twice, and then buy it right back up again. Same thing here. We're very bearish overall, right? With that big trend coming down. So if I'm going to want to buy this thing, I got to get those, first of all, take out that low, get the bears to try a couple times, and then trade that, again, that two try failure, find that new channel, grab that turn, trade the rotation. I can definitely buy off of that low. How do we sell down here though? Again, assume we got the short, at some point going lower there, right? Now we find ourselves down at that low. How do we sell down here? We need a breakout. What's a breakout look like? A breakout's very similar, right? It's very simple. We have to get what's called a 1, 2, 3 breakout. Now, look back here. Right, and again, the same technique can be applied to the S&P as well. I just want to make sure I kept on moving here tonight. So let's say we go up, right? Big move up. The buyers have to hold that pullback, right? We go up. The buyers have to hold that pullback. We go up. The buyers have to hold that pullback. In fact, you could say, right? Let's say the buyers come in. Let's say they hold that pullback and they jump. Okay, that's a breakout. That's a 1, 2, 3 breakout pattern, right? 1, 2, 3 breakout. What do you do in that situation? You mark up that high, you mark up that low, right? We then look for those traps, those failures. Again, almost like a broken record here, right? But it's kind of the same thing over and over again. That's the way trading works. We're not using new setups every single day, right? That'd be crazy. We know what works, and we work what works over and over and over again, because it's once you figure out what works so well, why would you change the system, right? So it works very well like that. So you're finding that 1, 2, 3 breakout, and you're buying that first pullback. Same thing over here. If we end up down at these lows now, the bears have to hold it. They have to show us they mean business. They haven't been able to do it yet. Didn't hold it there, didn't hold it there. So again, I'm not going to short that first pullback. I'll let them try it once, twice, and I'll buy into those stop losses. But if the bears can hold that pullback and jump, remember, here's the key. The key is it doesn't matter how strong the move down is. All that matters is can they hold that pullback? We see a lot of times where we see these big drops, and then sure enough, 1, 2, whoop, right back up into the range again. And we see a lot of times big pops. And all of a sudden, 1, 2, and whop, back down to the range again. So again, we end up at those lows. The moving average comes over. Can they hold and break down? If they can hold and break down, now we have a breakout. Now we mark up that low, mark up that high, and repeat after me. The first test is the best test. Okay, the first test is the best test. Okay, off that high. Now again, a lot of times it's going to be a trap entry of some sorts. Right? The trap be the first one. So you find that prior swing, come off the high, it's a trap. We get above the moving average, it's a failure. Okay, right? Buyers are trying to buy it going back in, right? We trap them in, we sell into stops, and that pullback. That's why I said early in the intro here tonight, there's so many opportunities every day. We just have to kind of wait and see what we're going to get, tomorrow morning. So trap, failure, pullback. Now, where do the bears want to get? Right? If the bears take it lower, where do they want to go? They want to get down to that 260, right? That 15,260, big, juicy low down there. Major low. The buyers, of course, though, they want to get back up to retest the high at 57. And then don't forget, there's that big range up there. We forget that all-time high is still up there here. Yeah, we've been pretty bearish the last couple of days here, but, rollover now is behind us here. We're now in the 1221 contract. So don't underestimate these buyers here. But again, buy low, sell high. If it keeps on going higher, we'll trade that breakout. You guys had a pretty good plan on that. And I know I move quickly here in this video. I try to keep this video as short and brief as I can. But don't forget, tomorrow morning, we're going to fill in all the blanks, and I'll make sure we do everything the right way tomorrow morning in our trade room. But at least now you get a pretty solid game plan if you're trading on your own out there. How about some gold? Wrapping up here on the yellow metal, had relatively low volume today on the gold. Let's kind of think about what the game plan is. Now, there's a lot going on in this chart right now, but the most important thing you kind of want to think about is we're really just one big range here. There's one big range. And what do ranges like to do? They like to rotate. They rotate down, they rotate up, they rotate down, they rotate up, they rotate down, and potentially they rotate back up. If I zoom in a bit closer on this, you'll notice that just recently, and if you paid attention last week, we did a lot of this pendulum swinging back and forth. The amount of the move last Friday that went above the range conveniently came all the way back down, and yoo-hoo, I see you, right? Took out that pendulum swing, right, as we go. You can see what happened, right? The bears got their rotation completed, and now they've got that big strong open loop going higher. Anytime we see a big strong move like that, what do we expect? Another leg in the same direction. Now, we may not go forever. We may not make that measured move target, which does definitely smell pretty good for those buyers tomorrow. We may not get that big measured move, but anytime we see that much strength in one direction, we know the odds are almost guaranteed we retest the high. Now, remember, this is the overnight session we're going into, so anything is possible, obviously. And the market can do whatever it wants to do, but generally speaking, for example, right now, if it was, 10:15 tomorrow morning, 8:20, tomorrow morning, I'd be looking for that long because that range below us may be a magnet. But come on, the strength of that move here, it was, again, if this was kind of, right in the thick of things tomorrow, it'd be almost a no-brainer here. Just get long on that thing going back up to retest the high. It's always a bit difficult to be going to the overnight session, right? Because, things get a bit weird sometimes in the overnight, but, my job right now is going to put together a game plan for us. So, a couple components, right? Most important component right now is the strength of this move going higher. Okay, the range right in the middle, of course, is a magnet. But I'll tell you right now, these bears have a difficult job ahead of them because you got that rising support trend line right there. So it could be difficult here to be a seller, at least for now. You'll also notice, if you recall back in the Nasdaq chart from earlier, remember how I talked about kind of that breakout pullback? Well, here we are, right, with that kind of breakout pullback idea that I mentioned earlier here. So definitely in a great spot here to get long. As you can imagine, I would love to, as the market tries to go higher, we get all of that momentum going higher. This is exactly where we get underneath the moving average. We're at a level of support, We've got support kind of, dare I say, protecting us against the bears below us. At this point, I would love to get that failure into that pull back, into that trap combination going higher, right? There are three possible trades going higher here: failure, pullback, trap, right? Going higher. Ideally, I'd like to get that failure or pullback before we retest the high. Oftentimes, right, it'll really blast the highs like that, and then we're looking for traps up as we go. There'll probably be a new channel up there as well. Find that new channel, you know what I mean? Grab those traps there. So there's a lot of ways we can buy this as we go higher. Let's say, for example, the market was to tap lower here, right? And the market really jumps and runs higher. We may not get that pullback that we'd like to get. In that case, just grab the trap. The trap is fine too. If you have enough strength going higher, that trap will also work as we try to make our way to the other side of the channel and complete that measured move going higher here. How would I sell this market? How would I sell it? One more thing too. Well, hold on. Let me finish this thought first, then we'll go to the sell side here or the downside here. One more thing, too. Let's say, for example, we do find our way back up to retest the high. Could I sell at that point? I definitely can. In fact, that'd be a great short. What's the problem? Momentum. So what do? Let them try twice. Great location for a short. That range is right below us, right? That trend line is a ways away now. There's no worries about that now. What's the concern? Concern, of course, is momentum. Let them try once. Let them try twice. And again, don't forget, trade the turn, right? Trade that turn, right? That's a great way to do it. Again, it's a 1-2 try failure, as we've talked about many times already. I look for 2 tries because of all of the bullishness. All right. There's a lot of times we don't need 2 tries. Just in tonight's video, there's a lot of scenarios where the momentum is very bullish. And so if we want to sell it, I have to respect those bulls. So buyers try once, right? Try twice, and we can sell into those stop losses. Then find that reversal. And as always, the first test is the best test as we go back down again. Right. It's going to think about that, selling off those highs here. And again, if it goes failure and blast, then obviously we're not going to try to sell that mark. We're going to buy the pullbacks, buy traps, lock in some seller failures, and rip that thing higher. How could I sell it as it goes lower? Right? How could I sell it? How do I trade it as it goes lower here? As it goes lower, one of my kind of favorite trades is to use these trend lines, right? Kind of as an area of resistance. So what we may see this market run lower and kind of use that area as resistance. Think about kind of a channel, coming down overhead like this, using that as an area of resistance. Usually what happens when a market kind of reverses off those highs like this is you'll see something like this, where it'll go once, twice, that trap on this. We'll have to see how this one sets up. This is a 1500 tick chart. I'm obviously not going to trade a 1500 tick chart. I'll drill down to a faster time frame. This may look much better on a faster time frame here. Buyers once, buyers twice. Find that little hidden channel there. That's usually going to be your best short, as we talked about many times already. I'll have to just drill down and see what that faster time frame looks like. If I can get a 1-to-1 on that when it triggers, it's definitely worth, taking that trade. If we can't get a 1-to-1 on it though, you're going to want to wait for it here, right? Wait for it to get through it, go up, and then hit it on the side there as we go here. Could I buy it as we go lower? Absolutely, I could. If it goes lower here, what I would definitely want to do though is again use those 2 tries. The bears try once, bears try twice, failure, pullback, combination going higher here. Just because that range will likely start to hold. And remember, that edge that is used for support will also be used as resistance. So we're going to want to try to rope in, kind of trap in those bears there if we do go lower. Right, does that make sense? Let me know, by the way, if you have any questions in the comments section. I would love to answer any questions you guys have on this stuff. I cover most of the questions in that free trading class, keep in mind. So again, failure into pullback and that rotation back higher. Let's say, for example, the market simply runs lower, holds that pullback, and blasts running down. Forget about the range. Just focus on finding that channel and try to get in off the top of that channel before we take out those big lows. That would be the most important thing. Find that new channel, 1, 2, 3, right? Again, find the high. That high again is oftentimes going to be some sort of trap entry, off of that high, trap, failure, pullback combination. One thing you do want to think about too is if the market was to just race running lower, the closer you are to that low, the more important it will be to get a trap entry. Okay, traps are your best friend whenever you're worried about selling really low. So if we start getting down to these areas down here, right, that trap is really going to be important because it allows you now to sell as high as possible. So keep that in mind. And then again, if they were to, for example, hold that, what we call these 1, 2, 3 breakouts, right? If they were to hold that pullback and really start to punch going lower, keep the party going. Find that new channel. At this point, you've got all of that momentum. It's just a matter of, waiting for the entry now off the high of that channel. Don't let these lows worry you. If you have enough momentum with that 1, 2, 3 breakdown, again, the market may not keep going forever, but you can at least get, a first target, move that stop, get rid of the risk, before you retest that low here. If the market really did keep pushing there, we get some more support levels down there at that 74.6, 72 even area there. We'll definitely grab a look at that as we go. But now we get some good setups here for tomorrow, though. What do you think? I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments section below. I hope by now you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I hope I'll see you there tomorrow, right? Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We'll be in our trade room. Hope I'll see you there trading right along with us. I'll put all of the membership information you guys need in the description of the YouTube video, or I'll put a big button for you right below me tonight on the trading blog. Grab that link, get registered. I'll see you tomorrow morning at the opening bell. And again, there'll be no newsletter Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So tomorrow night, last video newsletter of the week, and we'll come back and we'll spice things up with a new format, potentially new format for next week into the end of the year. Let me know what you think, guys. Keep in touch. Don't be afraid to call the office. I'm always here to help out when you need me along the way. My name is Joseph. Be well out there. Be nice to each other, will you? And be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.